Me too.
It's like the only stress in my life is people like being ridiculous.
All right, that's a good marker right there. Hey, everybody, it's Know Nothing's podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Ray, episode 73 coming in hot.
That's it. Yeah, we'll be getting to doing these a lot more once we get in the back room and it's all set up. And like, come over and do one.
Yeah,
and
you can just pop it. You can just pop
be
it.
Like, oh, did you see what just happened? You got to get over here and we got to talk about it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to talk about right now. We'll, I guess we can get into the world event stuff after, well, I guess it is a world event that yesterday, July 22nd, we lost Ozzy. That was the worst.
That's terrible.
But he went out on top. He went out a legend. He largest charity concert in the history of the world. That's pretty cool. Passes away 17 days later. And, man, you can't get on social media for 2 seconds right now without just every other post is just a tribute to Ozzy. It's amazing. It's like all these people came out of the wood, and I realized that, like, okay, some of these people aren't fans per se, like what I would call like a fan, but he had such a cultural impact and impacted so many people's lives that it's like even more than anybody could even kind of understand when he was, because these people, I know they're not fans, right? Like, because I've been a fan for 40 years, so like, and I'm, and that's okay. But it's so cool that I'm like, man, his cultural significance. And then I got to thinking about it. I was like, the guy. So he like, Sabbath is formed in 1968. So this is like boomers are in 5th and 6th grade. Right? Boomers are in 5th and 6th grade, and he impacted their entire generation. Sabbath changed the trajectory of the world. And then he comes out in 1980 with Randy Rhoads, Blizzard of Oz Band, Rudy Sarzo, all those cats. Totally gets all of Gen X like under his. So he had all the boomers for 12 years. Then he gets all their children. Then he comes on and does the Osbournes in 2002, 22 years after, and solo Ozzy. Sabbath was like the second biggest band in the world. It was Led Zeppelin, Sabbath, and then Deep Purple made up the unholy trinity, as they call it, in the set. So you had all these boomers. Then the 80s, solo Ozzy was bigger than Sabbath, which is like mind-blowing. He was bigger than Sabbath. Then he comes out in 2002 and has the largest reality show ever. And and at the same time, he's 4 years into the run of Ozfest, which was this massive touring. So then he got all the millennials in 2002 and all that, ran Ozfest for a decade, brought all the millennials in with him. So he's got boomers, all the Gen X, and even people that don't listen to his music or they know Crazy Train, War Pigs, Iron Man. Everybody knows that. But like, they know those songs. They still love him or feel like there's some connection to him in some way. Right. It's crazy. I mean, you saw like Coldplay played an Ozzy song last night in their concert. You know, I've been a fan for 40 years. I read today that Johnny Cash was a big Ozzy fan.
Yeah, I think everyone was. I think if you were in music,
if you were
a famous musician in the last
55 years,
you were like, oh, Ozzy, goddamn. But like, even like with me, okay, I started falling in love with music, the Beastie Boys,
and you were a late Ozzy
late
bloomer.
80s, and I was a late Ozzy bloomer. As of late,
since
very
we've been podcasting,
Ozzy, you just liked
it, but I think I turned you on to like
to like Black Sabbath
and the
and
significance
everything.
of this.
You showed me, and I'm sure a lot of people that like certain bands have no clue that Black Sabbath started that sound.
Yeah.
Just like me when I was like Soundgarden, and you were like, you need to listen to this, you need to listen to this from Black Sabbath. I went and listened to all this stuff, and then I would listen to Super Unknown, Soundgarden. I'm like, this is Black Sabbath just done now.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris Cornell is singing like Ozzy, like he's doing his version. Of course, he sounds like himself, but
you're right.
if you go back and listen to Ozzy singing, you're like, he's doing Ozzy. And I was blown. My mind was blown. I was like, all these bands.
And then you started seeing. Then you started
seeing
everything. And then as a musician, you started listening to Sabbath and the Ozzy Randy Rhoads stuff, the Ozzy Zakk Wylde stuff. As a musician, there's no.
Well, it's what's gotten me back into guitar again, like Randy Rhoads and all this got me
Iommi
wanting me to learn about how. Because usually I just pick up a guitar my entire life and I just start playing, and then I just write songs playing. Yeah. And not really putting any. I was just like, oh, this sounds good together. But I've like in the past 2 years started really learning why this goes here, like theory and things like that, and then learning techniques on the guitar. And so, and I am 100% better than I was 2 years ago. I'm 1,000% better than I was when I was in a band that was signed.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
I feel like I would have if our band would have been lifted up to a certain point where we were in the public eye of America or whatever, they probably would have gotten rid of me and replaced me with somebody better on the guitar, 100%.
Right, yeah, that happens a lot, yeah.
They would have been like, this guy's good. This guy over here, no, he's a garage band guy. He's just, he's not, he wrote some cool songs, but they're just tricks. Yeah. And I always have, and I've always told everybody I have like an imposter, like.
Syndrome.
Yeah. With everything. Like, I feel like I'm an imposter musically. And then I write these songs and I play them for people. They seem to like them.
Yeah.
And people are like, those are good. And I'm just like, man, I just kind of made that up on the fly.
Well, that's kind of everything. That's kind of what music is. I was watching this. I can't remember. I wish I knew who the person talking was about. And they were talking about Ozzy. And they were like, it was Gene Simmons. Okay, it was Gene Simmons, believe it or not. And I've never heard Gene Simmons utter a humble human word in my life. Okay, like full disclosure, I've heard a lot of Gene Simmons interviews. He's always come across as the most egotistical megalomaniac. Right. You got a perfect for a rock band, right? But like not a humble dude. This guy gives the most eloquent. It was like a 5-minute speech, and he goes, if you think about it, he said, there is nobody that was Ozzy before Ozzy. There was nobody after Ozzy who was Ozzy. He is his own enigma, his own universe, his own universe that he created that is like so powerful, so dynamic. And he was like, and then he said stuff like, we were so humbled to get to open for him.
Oh my gosh. He said that?
Gene Simmons. He was like,
wow.
He was like, when Ozzy and Sabbath took us along on their tour, when they, because normally...
He took so many people. They're all just like, I didn't realize he's coming out of the woodwork and then giving so many bands a shot on that. Well they wanted to give us a shot on Ozfest.
Yeah.
They were saying that on the radio back in 2002, or 2001, 2002. I can't remember.
That's how you found out.
I found out on the radio. They were like, hey, this band we're playing on the radio, and they're going to be they're going to Ozfest. And I was like, we are?
And then that all fell to pieces. But
it all fell to pieces.
So that's what Ozzy never bragged about that or spoke. But his entire career was find a band that's really good and got some shit going on and bring them on tour. He did it for Kiss. He did it for Van Halen. He did it for
Motley Crue,
Boston, Metallica, AC/DC. I mean, and he spoke about it right before he died, and he talked about how he's like, that was kind of my thing. He's like, I didn't talk. It's just something. Slipknot. He's like, Lamb of God. He's like, Tool. He's like, he's like,
the caliber of musicians that bow down to Ozzy are major musicians.
Major.
Yeah. Like, they get it. They recognize it, and he recognized them. And they're Tool, Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan. He's like, Ozzy.
He worships for him. I watched another band who didn't have anything to do that I didn't think. Oh, so last night, so Coldplay does an Ozzy song last night in concert from like 50,000 in an arena. Yeah. Lady Gaga.
Did anybody get busted at this Coldplay show? Nobody.
No,
this one.
Nobody got busted with
Nobody
affair.
got busted.
No affair.
Having an affair at this one.
It was the next concert after the affair.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. Lady Gaga, her whole entourage comes out and bows to Crazy Train, and in a megalodome. They finish the show with Crazy Train. She's wearing an Ozzy T-shirt with the Ozzy tattoo demon.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, Lady Gaga.
She's an amazing musician.
Alice Cooper and his entire band dedicates the whole show to Ozzy. Then gives this whole speech at the end of their show. all these bands that aren't even connected in that universe. I mean, Alice Cooper. Then another band, they put a tribute up that had nothing to do with metal, and they were like, yeah, so the first 2 songs we played tonight were War Pigs and Iron Man. They're like, but we walked out to Diary of a Madman just like we've done for the last 35 years. They've been using the intro to Diary of a Madman for 35, and it's like a pop group.
Yeah.
He's like, but we did. He's like, of course we walked out to Diary of a Madman like we have for the past 35 years. And then everybody's like, oh, I didn't even know what that was, because they were their fans.
That was their fans. They don't.
So and he's not playing the song. He's just playing the intro to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, I was like, his reach is just. I mean, Elton John comes out and makes him and Ozzy were like best friends.
Yeah.
People didn't know that.
They live over there.
Yeah. Just who almost anybody. You can't really think of. Oh, Robert Plant comes out and makes this he makes a big speech about how Ozzy's a rock god and on the Pantheon and how everything he did to cement rock history. You never hear Robert Plant. Because Robert Plant is the golden god, right? He's Robert fucking Plant.
Right.
So I've never once heard him say, oh, this guy is spectacular. This guy is so amazing.
Right.
When anyone else has
Because Robert Plant's so amazing to himself and everyone else.
Yeah, and Robert was like, Ozzy has cemented his place in the pantheon of rock gods and icons. He is the innovator, the blah, blah, blah. It's on and on.
It's incredible. I mean, and you can have people who say, oh, okay, well, I mean, everybody's building him up, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it holds up. Well, it holds up.
I've known this for like 35 years, right?
But and now people are finding out.
Yes, and I'm not trying to like. I'm
the
not
last couple of years.
I was just a huge Ozzy and Sabbath fan as a young kid. I was a huge historian of their music. I wrote his bio on his website when they had the Ozfest website. Like I wrote the Ozzy bio.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they had all the bands that were playing Ozfest this year, and they're like, hey, everybody submit your bios.
And they picked yours.
And
oh, wow.
So when you clicked on Ozzy, there was I wrote a bio from 1948 through, and it was like detailed but concise, concise enough to read. And it was on the website for probably 2 years.
Oh, you should have been invited to Birmingham.
Yeah, I wish.
For the bio.
I was just honored that they picked mine. They picked mine out of like 10,000 bios that were submitted.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So I say that to just say, like, I kind of know the score on it, right? And I know so when the grunge thing and when the 90s thing was happening, and you and I have talked about this before, that's why I was like the only kid I knew. And this is not me, Brian. This is just I was the only kid I knew was like, I mean, it's good. I like it. And everybody like, what are you, crazy? Because I've been listening to Sabbath and Randy Rhoads Ozzy for 10 years. By the time grunge pops when I'm 50. Okay, so I've been really into it for like 5 years probably. So 5 years deep dive on it. So I'm like, it's good. It's cool, but I'm like, I was like, they're doing, and I knew then about all the people how Ozzy took everyone on tour. Like, if all of a sudden you look up and when Foreigner in like the early 80s were the biggest band in the world, and they were just turning out radio hit after radio hit. Mm-hmm. If you look back 18 months prior, they're on tour with Ozzy. If you look at
no way,
everybody, when Ozzy took Kiss on tour, Kiss was nobody. When he took AC/DC on tour, they were a club band.
Yeah.
When he took Van Halen on tour, guess what? When he finished the tour, they were no longer that. They were at the top of the mountain. There's something to be said whether he's finding that talent or Sharon is, whoever, but he could always decline to give them a stage. Yeah. And Van Halen spoke about it. They were like, and Motley Crue have spoke about the same thing. They said Ozzy's the only person who had that kind of platform and that kind, like, playing those kind of arenas and shows.
Well, and the thing is it's like he like you said, the arenas, the shows. Him and Sharon knew everyone that owned those places, the distributing,
of course,
the people, all the stuff it takes to know somebody that owns a Century Tel Center, and all the things that go along with it, getting in the people to push in the equipment, everything.
How to market it. We know that it's good.
He's known everybody since the fucking
60s.
Early 60s, late 60s.
Yeah.
So,
or let's say the early 70s since he got connected.
Because he knew all those people. So it was like, come along with us. And then those people followed him doing that, and made those connections.
And so now your band that's really kicks ass, but also people don't know this. He used to go to club shows in the 70s and late 70s and 80s, Ozzy would go to club shows and be like, that band, get them. Well, they're fucking nobody. Book them. They're great.
They'll be somebody.
They'll be somebody. And
he'd have been the greatest A&R guy ever for a record label, the biggest record label.
Yeah, he wouldn't know how to do any of the business stuff.
But he could just pick those guys.
He could hear it. He could hear it and see. He knows what entertainment looks like, right?
Right.
But AC/DC and Motley Crue both spoke about this. They said every time you go on one of these big tours, and they're like, and even we did it. Like we were shitty and did it. When you go on these big tours as an opening act, the main act doesn't want to be upstage, so they're like, your sound goes down. You get 10% of the lighting. You don't get any of the pyro.
Right.
You get 30 minutes. They were like, I swear before Christ, Ozzy's like, you get full fucking access to. You got all the lights, all the pyro. I want your fucking volume cranked up. He said, go out there and fucking kick. Yeah, he's like, go out there and kick ass. He said, try to kick our ass. See if you go, fucking do it.
I felt like at the show in Birmingham, we watched it. The sound was amazing in the beginning, and I could hear everyone. And then I think they applied the science of turn people down before the bigger band, but I think they did it to. They started doing that at Alice in Chains, and that was the worst time to do it.
Yeah,
I couldn't even hear
the vocals.
Coming from Jerry
his name.
Cantrell.
Yeah.
I need to take some more methylene blue.
Yeah.
That Jerry Cantrell, and then the sound got kind of bad, and then it got great.
Then it got great again quick. It was pretty quick.
I think somebody like heard it and was like, "Hey, who's fucking the sound up?" Don't because the shows that we always played, we would play at a venue that knew what they were doing with sound, that had their own sound stuff. The first two bands sounded like dog shit.
Oh yeah.
And then they would turn on the thing that, like, there was I don't want to talk out of, but nobody's watched this. Nobody will know what I'm talking about.
But like somebody might in the future.
In like Arkansas, there was I forget the name of the place.
Sticky's Chicken Shack,
something like that. But it was they had their own system, and they had like one of these in the early 2000s. They're probably like the only place that was this small that had this equipment that like took away all, like you plug everything into the board and you hit a button and it takes away all the noise.
Yeah,
like it would automatically like make things.
That's pretty
sound
common
amazing.
now. But
that's common now, but like they didn't turn that on until the last band.
Yeah, which
So,
that was and in the 70s, and this time we're talking about with AC/DC and Motley Crue in the early 80s. That was the thing. You can't upstage the big act, so you're not getting any. They were really that was really when all that stuff was starting, because stadium shows were really just cranking. That's when stadium shows started, was Sabbath and Zeppelin era. There was no stadium shows before that. People need to like understand that. Like
they would be at like a bar.
They would be at a high school gymnasium, a theater. You know, you had the Beatles played Shea Stadium.
Those theaters. Everybody toured little tiny theaters.
Look, there was no such thing as arena rock. People don't know, like, or they missed that. Did the Deep Purples, the Led Zeppelins, the Sabbaths came along, you had to have arena
because
rock.
there'd be so many people, they'd be piling out the doors.
So the egos were out of control, and all those big bands were. And if you're watching a band like AC/DC or Motley Crue when they're young and in their prime, you're thinking these motherfuckers are pretty good,
and they are full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah, and to just say, hey, I want you guys to have everything. If you can kick our ass, do it.
The funny thing about music is playing music since I was 15 years old and going to bars and playing in shit bars. And to sometimes to 20 people, sometimes like when the only time I ever like was in a band that people came to watch us play was when I was in KWB, when I was in 1000 Watt Bitch.
Right.
And then they would be packed out the door, and there would be people lying down the street to get in, and they'd run out of
Previous
beer.
to that, it's just like everybody else.
Previous to that, it's like everybody else. You're just playing like 311 covers and
play where you can play,
Stone Temple Pilots.
You hope some people show up.
People would get drunk and dance in front of you and be like, "Oh, this is pretty cool."
Yeah.
Even those bands that play the Stone Temple Pilot covers back then and all that stuff had huge egos.
Of course,
they had these huge egos, and I always
bar
thought
bands
it
right
was
now playing
so
3 people
funny.
still have huge egos.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I just thought it was the most hilarious thing in the world. And the funny thing is,
you kind of have to have it too, right?
You kind of to get in front of somebody and play
and be like,
and
you'd be like, look at
me.
Like
I'm special.
So I think,
but it's true.
I think it's fitting that we're talking about Ozzy, because Ozzy is the perfect culmination of, I have this giant ego in the fact that I know that I'm the shit.
Right.
And I know that these motherfuckers are coming to watch me, but I'm also humbled by the fact that they're coming to watch me, and grateful for the fact they're coming to watch me. And and because I'm a poor kid from Birmingham who didn't have shoes when I started Black Sabbath.
Right.
He didn't have shoes. Like, people need to, like,
Wow.
Ozzy did not have shoes when Black Sabbath was formed. He was playing gigs with literally no shoes. His first thing he bought when he got his first any sort of check was cologne, because he didn't take regular showers. Couldn't take regular showers. This is poverty. So he sees these other bands that are working hard, and he wants them to. That's humility, but you got to have an ego to stand up there and say, "Look at me."
Right. Well, here's something that I find.
Hey, Jordan.
Hey there. Here's something that I find that's funny is, like, a couple years after I was in KWB, and then a friend of mine's band was playing, and I was standing out in the crowd, and he goes, "Mike, you want to come up here and rap some Rage Against the Machine?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
So I jump on stage, and the people weren't really paying attention because they weren't playing, you know.
Because it's a local band playing right now, nobody
in a bar,
and nobody's kicking ass.
And
yet.
I grab the microphone and I go, let's say this is 2005, and I grab the microphone and I go, I need all the hot chicks right here in front. I need them all right here, which probably wouldn't go over well now.
Sure, it would. It would if you said it with confidence. That's the problem.
That's what I did. I got up there and I big balls it, and I was like, I need all the hot chicks right here, right now.
You can't
I need all
worry
the hot
about that
chicks
shit.
right in here, and a 1, 2, 3, and I'm talking, bomb track. It's like, and like everybody just went.
Well, nobody wants to be a not hot chick,
Boom.
so they're all going to come,
yeah,
right?
So they all come up to the front, and then everybody's just jumping and having a blast. But that's part of like jumping into that role and pushing that onto the crowd. Just be like, I need all the hot chicks to the front right now before I do this song.
It's hard for most artists after the stage, when the lights go down, and it's just, as Ozzy says, when the lights go down, it's just an empty stage. That's like one of his lyrics that's poignant as hell.
Yeah.
So when the lights go down, it's just an empty stage, and you're just a dude. Like, so own that, and then you've played your part.
Yeah. Well, that's
Now
what
pay it
I mean.
forward.
That's what we always do. You just, there's like a confidence you have to have, and there's like a confidence you have to have. So I was like, I didn't give a shit because I didn't know anybody there, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna
own that shit anyway. Yeah.
Just get up here now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not hot? Why are you way back there? Get up here.
Yeah.
You're hot. Come on, let's go. And they're like, oh, me?
Yeah.
So then you just start throwing down.
And then the party got a little bit more fun, right?
And it got way more fun.
Yeah.
And it kind of turned it up. I turned it up a notch. You know what I mean?
So, you see,
But that's that cocky like cockiness. But then as soon
There's
as
a
I'm on
line.
stage, I'm like, I'm such an imposter.
Yeah.
I'm
What am I even doing?
I'm like, oh God, did you record that? I'm never watching that. I'm
Yeah.
never gonna watch that. Which back then when we played, we didn't record anything.
There was no iPhone.
And then everybody would just there was no
Somebody would have had
phones.
to bring a camcorder.
A camcorder.
Yeah.
I think when we played in front of 20,000 people in Florida, our tech nerd guy that came around with us had a laptop with the first camera you'd plug into a laptop and like shine it at us. And he got like he got like a minute and a half before the
Can
whole
you
thing
imagine what that would
crashed.
look like if you pulled it up now, like with that footage?
It's just like him like in a crowd like getting beat around holding a laptop.
It would look
going
like
this.
it would look like it was
You couldn't
filmed with
even
a
see us.
potato.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It looks like that. And the last time I saw it was 20 years ago. Like it looked like that. Like he's getting beat around. There's 20,000 people pushing into him, and he's trying to film us with this thing, and it was hilarious. So like, but I find that like when you like a show like that, and everybody goes, man, that was fucking amazing, and then if it's every angle's recorded and you go back and you go, oh well, that guy like missed the step here and here they did that, instead of being in the moment in the energy of it and being like, whoa,
that's the age we live in now.
Yeah.
Which, if you look, when we were watching that Back to the Beginning show,
Yeah.
you watch some of that. There was a ton of times during Ozzy's performance when there was no cell phones. You just saw that when they would pan to the
Right.
crowd. Did you know? I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Yeah,
we didn't
yeah.
talk about that. You panned. There were just people like, crying. The whole crowd was like
amazed.
crying in tears. God, what a send off! What a send off that he got to do. I think he knew he was dying.
Yeah, I think so too.
He got to do that in 17. He went out with his original band.
Oh God,
Got to
amazing.
and his solo band. He got to play with all his guys let all his guys like Jakey Lee come up and get a chance to play again. People that he had rocky relationships with
Yeah.
because of whatever the music industry does to people.
Yeah, right.
But they, you know what? This is what people are like. Oh, well, he fucked Jake over. Jake should. I'm like, hey, it's real funny that like Jake showed up for free.
Yeah, right.
Like there's something there, and Jake's like in tears about it.
When it comes down to it, you really just want to play. I've had some rocky relationships with music, but at years mend things, and then you get together and you're like, hey man, I remember why we love each other, and we want to play music together.
Well, like, and some people like, Bob Daisley was like, people were like, oh, Ozzy owes Bob Daisley like $5 million because Daisley wrote a lot of the music, and Ozzy made himself the songwriter, or Sharon did it because that's how business was done back then, right? Like, and now people
it was kind of like, now's our time. We're giving you a leg up, and it'll be your time.
It'll be your time, and
if you're good, it'll be your time.
You start your own thing.
Yeah, you do your own thing.
This is our thing, and
we're letting you in on something.
Yeah, and which the artist, the public is like, Bob Daisley should be like, fuck Ozzy forever. And Daisley's not like that, even though he was kind of fucked over, I guess, like 6 or 7 times.
He was mad.
Well, he lost lighting
6 or 7 times.
So he got no writing credits on Blizzard of Oz. He wrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
Got no writing credits on Diary of a Madman. He wrote the whole thing. Came back and then came back and wrote all of Bark at the Moon with J.K. Lee. Got no writing credits. Then came back and wrote The Ultimate Sin and got no writing credits. And then he was like, "Fuck this shit, I'm done."
After all that, I'm done.
Yes, and this is 7 years. So guess what happens? Ozzy's recording No More Tears, and he calls Bob's like, "Hey, can you come help me write No More Tears?" And Bob's like, "Yep."
Yeah. Because it's a feeling.
Yeah.
You get it's better than money. It's better than money. The feeling, like
he knew what was gonna happen.
I'll tell you this. Sean and me, whenever Sean walks in a room and I have a guitar in my hand and there's a band there and I start just pumping out something on the guitar and he starts singing.
You love it.
It's like lightning in a bottle. And I would do it for free the rest of my life if I could eat.
Yeah,
doing it.
Because
there's like a magical thing that happens with certain people.
And even though Bob Daisley, he's written 4 albums for you, no writer credits, should have maybe gotten some, but he got money. Don't get me wrong, he got money
As long as they show up.
Yeah,
you want to play.
Oh, that's right. Which they do. And so then Bob writes No More Tears, and he's like, "Oh, so Ozzy, I'm gonna play bass on No More Tears. This is gonna be pretty cool because I've written the whole thing for you." And he's like, "Nah, I think I'm gonna get this kid Mike Inez." What?
Sorry.
Yep, that's the way it goes, brother. And he still, after all that, when he would be pressed about it, he's like, "I just want him to acknowledge that I wrote it, and I don't care about it's there's something there for like every." Musicians it's a tough road for them. You got to be a little savvy in that industry.
Well, the problem is first of all, you're a musician. So
you said the problem is first of all,
the problem is first of all, you're a musician, and those things that come along with being a real musician is you're an empath. You're an empath. No, I don't care how heavy metal you are and how detuned your guitar is. You got a big heart.
Yeah. Because you're an artist.
You're an artist, and you have feelings.
You're not a linebacker. You're an artist.
Yeah, you're not a linebacker that goes set, hike, go, crash into a guy. You're a guy who gets up in front of people and plays something and puts your entire soul out there to do it.
You want them to feel something.
And then later you go behind stage and you go, "Oh fuck, I'm a loser and I'm this, that, and the other." And there's 20,000 people out there like screaming your name. And you're like, "God, I'm such an imposter." Like, and you feel everything. You're a musician. You have a big heart. You're an empath.
Yeah.
No matter what you're playing, you can get up there. Jonathan Davis, or like Metallica,
he's a giant empath.
All those guys, huge empaths, or they wouldn't be able to connect with a crowd.
Kirk Hammett's like super sensitive. Geezer Butler's like super sensitive.
You can't connect with the crowd if you're just some dickhead who's like, "Whatever, fuck you guys."
Yeah,
you know what
I
mean.
Some people try that and it doesn't last. It doesn't last very long.
No, it doesn't work. But so the first part of that is okay. Now you're most likely, I would put a high percentage rate of musicians not being businessmen.
Right.
To be a businessman, you got to be kind of cutthroat to get what you got to get because there's only a finite amount of money in the world.
There's only so much pie right here.
And there's only so much pie, and you got to grab a bit of it, and you may have to, do what you got to do to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a musician and you don't have those kind of things, but then there comes that's why you have a musician, a manager, a
publicist.
record label, a publicist, because you don't want to say things that out of,
You have your manager say it.
You have your manager say it, or you have your manager tell people, no, you're not playing bass, even though you wrote the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I need to talk to Ozzy. Well, Ozzy's not here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
You know
he's
what
not
I mean?
going to be.
He's not here. You can't talk to him, but you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Because Ozzy would be like, oh, maybe you should. Maybe
we can put you on 3 songs.
Put you on a couple of songs. But then everybody's like, no, we're not doing that.
It's this kid, Mike Inez. He's a young kid. He's super talented.
Yeah.
He's 24. Bob Daisley's more talented, but he's 50.
There's a lot of give and take in the music industry where, like, you got the art, where the art meets the business part is a rough and turbulent fucking thing.
And it's the music business.
How many artists have been their entire livelihoods have been stolen because of the business part of it? I mean, like TLC. I mean, there's a list that would go here.
But I always say this, even about TLC, and look, Ozzy's long history of people. But look, how come so many people stay with him is what I always say. I'm like, these people do not feel fucked over. The public feels like they're fucked over, but
we don't know the story.
Here's
but we do know the story, but we don't. But then you got all these people that are like, I would do anything for Ozzy, no matter what.
That's my point. So here's the deal. Let's take Jakey Lee or Bob Daisley. So you're a musician who's going around L.A. or England or wherever you're at. You're making $30 a week if you can get a gig playing in a coffee house, right?
Right.
Somebody like Ozzy calls you up and says, "Hey, I need you to do this for me, and I'll give you $20,000 to do it, and then I need you to come on the road with me. I'm gonna pay you $2,000 a week, and I'm gonna put you in front of 50,000 people a night."
What an experience! The 50,000 people a night that you get in front of is better than the money.
That's
the feeling.
So of course he's not giving you 25% of his. This is how I feel about it. How I've always felt about it. Of course, Ozzy Osbourne is not giving you 25% of his fucking kingdom.
No.
Yes, he's gonna make. He may have made $16 million on No More Tears on just the album sales, and then he made another $25 million on the tour. Do you think you're getting $11 million? No. You were playing in a pub in England last month. I'm inviting you to play Madison Square Garden, and I'm going to give you $25,000 to write these lyrics for me, and to write the music.
Right.
You don't have $25,000. I do. I'm going to give it to you. Would you write these songs for me for $25,000? Oh yeah, I'd love to do it. Well, then the songs are a hit. They were going to be from the jump because of who's singing them.
Right. Right.
They were going to be hits.
No, it's like what I said. I wrote a song for 1,000 Watt Bitch where I played at the middle mark of the song. I played one chord for 2 minutes, and Sean sang over top of it, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. It's not because of the one chord I wrote. It's because of what he was doing.
Even though you wrote it, right?
Even though I wrote it,
and
he wrote the lyrics, but did the thing. But I wrote the song and put this part in it, and he sang over it, and it was the most beautiful thing I ever heard. But who gets paid more? The guy who makes that thing work the best, or me, who's like, I'm gonna play one chord and see what happens?
Well, my thing when you're joining like somebody like Ozzy, you're joining. I'm gonna be so Ozzy's had. Yes, it's well known. All the guitar greats he's played with. It's like, damn, Ozzy's like a camp for the greatest guitarist who's ever lived. Yes, because you know why? When he says, "Hey, I'd like a guitarist," he gets 50,000 guitarists, the best in the world, lining up. Hey,
have a shot.
And they've all heard the rumor. Well, they're like, he may only give you $25,000 and $1,000 a week. Well, that's like way more than I've ever had.
To do guitar.
Yeah, and I get to.
I'm playing guitar for free everywhere.
Do you? Is it realistic for people to think like these? I don't want to call them like these hired hands or whatever because they're like world class musicians, but he's good. He's the one that elevated your brand.
Right.
People like Randy Rhoads. Look, I'm a Randy Rhoads fanatic. Okay.
Yeah.
I worship at the altar of Randy Rhoads as much as you can for a musician. Randy Rhoads was in Quiet Riot for 5.5 years before he met Ozzy Osbourne. Nobody outside of L.A. County knew who the fuck he was. He was in Ozzy for 15 minutes, and the entire world lauded him as the greatest guitar player who ever lived.
Yeah, greatest ever. Okay. And nobody knew who the fuck he was before. That's great.
Right? Jakey Lee.
Exactly.
Jakey Lee. It's Pre-Bark at the Moon was Yes, he was nobody. He was Zakk Wylde. before previous to No Rest for the Wicked was working at a gas station. The day before he was in Ozzy's band, he was working at a gas station. 4 days after they met, he was playing Madison Square Garden.
That's insane.
He's not in a position.
You don't get the keys to the kingdom.
He has no leverage to be like, I'm not getting $3 million off this deal too.
Right?
No,
go back to the gas station.
Yeah. Now you have 3 million kids going, this is the new greatest guitar player, Zakk Wylde's one. And Zakk will tell you, if Ozzy doesn't pluck me out of that gas station, I'm still the same guitar player I am because I love it so much. Nobody knows who I am. I'm in New Jersey.
Right.
Just still playing guitar to myself because I love it. He goes, people know who I am because he gave me this giant platform. Zakk's the one that got it forever.
Yeah, I love the deal that you say that.
Yeah, until finally he just told, hey, just put me on a, just put me on a retainer.
Yeah,
and you
like
have
a lawyer.
So Zakk will go, hey, if he's in the middle of, he can be in the middle of a Black Label tour, and everyone knows this. Ozzy calls me, I need you in the studio tomorrow. He's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm flying out.
Everything else, because Ozzy pays him around. Now, he doesn't.
All the time.
He doesn't pay him near what he gets paid.
Right.
But he pays him a lot.
Right.
A shitload. He doesn't split. Zakk doesn't get 20% of the tour revenue. Nothing even close to that, right? Mm-hmm. But he gets a fair deal. A lot of money, a ton of, and he can start other projects like Black Label Society.
Does Black Label Society makes a ton of money off
where
that.
He's the star.
And then Ozzy throws him a bone and is like, well, I'm going to be on a couple of the songs.
Yeah.
And it's like, boom.
That's a total, like Stillborn, that's what broke Black Label Society.
Yeah, that's what broke him. I never heard of him before until then.
And I wonder why. Could it have to do with Ozzy singing the chorus the whole song? Mm-hmm. You think that had anything to do with why Black Label Society went from moving 5,000 units a month to 100,000?
Also, if you listen to that, you realize that Ozzy gave him the formula for his vocal in those things. Because when Zakk sings, you can hear that he's singing through the same vocal chain that Ozzy sang through.
Sure.
It's so like that's something also that you learn from people when you go in the studio with other people and play. You learn how they record vocals. You learn how things work and the equipment they use. Equipment's a big deal.
Big deal.
And I know this because I've bought
$4,000
microphones before, and when I sing through them, I sound amazing.
You're right?
And the funny thing about it is like I'm not a great singer. And a lot of people that sing in the past 30 years, since the 90s, aren't great singers. But there are these microphones that make you sound industry standard, whether you sound good or not. And then add auto-tune to it with like in the last 20 years or whatever when that became prevalent. But before that, you'd have like punk bands and stuff that would sing and they sound like dog shit. And then when they sing through a U87 microphone that's made in Germany that has like these overtone things that are happening in it that make it sound industry standard, it's like, well, that sounds like something that I hear on the radio and it tweaks your ear.
Yeah, for sure.
It's 100% equipment, microphones, and all that kind of stuff that makes you go, oh, that's pretty good. Because it's funny because you could buy a $100 microphone and sing through it and be an asshole and sound like shit. Then there are people probably like Whitney Houston who could sing through a $100 microphone and sound amazing.
Sound wonderful, yeah.
But when she sings through a U87, it's like angelic.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Of course.
So like what brings me to mind through this is like, say, what's a band from the 90s that I would say like
Green Jello?
Green Jello.
That was a Dana Carey project, wasn't it?
Offspring.
Okay.
That guy can't sing.
No.
He's terrible. But when he sings through a U87 microphone,
he sounds cool.
He
though.
sounds industry standard.
Yeah.
Because it EQ.
I'd
sing through that microphone. You don't even have to EQ it. It just does like these weird things to it.
It pitch corrects on the fly, right?
It doesn't really. No, it doesn't pitch correct. It does a if a million people listen to us right now, they'd be yelling at me. But it does a it does like semi overtones and undertones that make your voice sound cool.
Yeah.
And now they have like programs that probably do it, but it's still not as good as say having a Neumann, which I had on the podcast. If you go back and look at it, I'm talking through a Neumann. Neumann U87 microphone, like $4,000, through like a Neve 500 series, whatever, or a 1078. And usually, like when even like rappers and stuff, when they go to a studio to do stuff, they're like, I need a U87 with a Neve, blah blah blah, and this, that, and the other, or I'm not coming.
Of course, and that's the other thing that it's going to give you access to better. Having access to that world gets you access to better studios, better producers.
Better equipment.
Like there's no as good as you are at producing and mixing and mastering. Imagine if you had a $500,000 studio with all the toys, all the boards,
and I didn't have to like try and fake it through all this stuff.
All the acoustics. You had a
the acoustics like in a room. Yes,
like a professional setup studio. You would be like, God. You would feel like it was what you had done in your room, which was amazing. You'd feel like that was like amateur hour.
It is amateur hour though, what I do in my room. But the thing is what helps.
But it's still good. I don't want you to take it the wrong way. Or feel
I know. Well, I mean,
imagine if you had that stuff, it's just that much better.
The funny thing about music is all the music, pop music and like rock music and like everything you've heard from the 90s, 2000s, 2010, all that music was done with all the same equipment, so it sounded all the same. It's not all the same as far as like industry standard. So, but now there are like programs and things that you can do with your computer that make it sound great. But I've always been like a purist, and I've always been the guy that's like, I'm a total purist when it comes to recording, and I want to take a Marshall JCM 900 and mic it up and turn it all the way up to 10, put it in the back room and play your solo through that, and put like a delay pedal on it.
I think that's why you can get some great results.
Yeah.
But imagine.
But it's just I'm just saying, like, I'm a purist though, because now you can go on the computer and I can just download a program that creates that sound for me, so I can sit here with headphones on, plug my guitar into the computer and like play it and do it. And that's great. That's awesome. I don't have to go through all the rigmarole of doing all that, but I'm a purist. Yeah. And I'm an old dying breed.
And I think there's something to be said. I mean, I think like Metallica kind of records that way still.
Oh, yeah. I think all the old school guys that record the way
I know Sabbath records that way still.
They do it. Yeah. They still do it.
Because it works.
Because it works.
And they love it. They're like, well, no, they get all the equipment stuff, but they still want to plug in big amp in the back or triple.
Nothing sounds like an amp turned all the way up to 10 while you're jamming. You're playing.
I've heard
your
of
solo.
like producers moving drums to different rooms in the studio and micing them up different ways, so it has a different.
One thing that I really like is the way, and I'm a big Rick Rubin fan. Like, I like the sound. If you get an energy, it's all about energy, and
capturing lightning in a bottle.
Capturing lightning in a bottle and energy, and I really feel like if you've got a good band that plays well in a room together, they all set up in a room together, like we did Morning Moon.
Yeah,
and you just kind of partition everybody off in a room, and they play live and do it all at the same time and catch it. Just like
that's how Sabbath recorded Sabbath 1.
Yeah,
and Sabbath and Paranoid.
So
in a room,
I feel like
together.
That's the best way to do it if your band is like
good enough. Yeah,
there.
Yeah,
I like System of a Down. That's the way they did it with Rick Rubin, and like they would just all get in a room. It's funny. There's a funny quote from Rick Rubin where he was like, when he first heard their music and they were recording, he was like, "This is music for crazy people."
Yeah,
because like, and he's like, "This is crazy."
There's a market
music
for that though.
He's like, "It's great, but this is for crazy people."
I always say though, if there's something that comes out that seems odd or different, it's probably innovative.
It's probably innovative and good. If you don't like it first listen, because it's not the first Bush album that you loved so much, then it might be pretty good.
Yeah. If you and I always tell people this, I'm like, just if you ever need a reminder that if you're like a musician, go grab like some 1969, 1970 copies of Rolling Stone and read the reviews on Led Zeppelin 1 and Black Sabbath 1. They fucking destroyed both those.
Because they're so different.
They're like, this is just noise for teenage delinquents. No one understands this. This is just they would name bands that are like nobodies now, right? It's like these guys are just it's a Uriah Heep rip-off version. Just I like Uriah Heep, don't get me wrong, but they're not Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath. I like Uriah Heep. But it's just funny. Go read those reviews of these experts and they're panning Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, which 55 years later to the whole world, it sounds
Greatest
ridiculous
bands of all time.
But at that time,
Most influential.
people are reading them, and they're not even going out to buy a copy of it. Or you're like, or Sabbath famously talking about when they would play and they would play Black Sabbath, that play that first record, Black Sabbath, and play the song Black Sabbath. How people en masse left the room. Like there's 100 people there to see you. They start playing Black Sabbath because it's so fucking weird. And imagine hearing that 1970s.
Imagine hearing that.
And then Ozzy comes in with those haunting lyrics. No, they said they would empty.
I got to get out of here.
They would empty the room, and
Yeah.
you'd be like, "What the fuck? Holy shit! The room just emptied."
I can see that.
Yeah, they're so famous. So people don't understand it yet, but
Right.
they will. And I thought, well, we can move on from Ozzy, although we don't have to. I love talking about the great.
No,
man
we don't
who's
have to
passed.
move on. We don't have to
But-
move on from shit.
I know, yeah, but man, So do you know the artist Youngblood?
Yes.
Okay, that the big,
Yeah.
you saw him sing.
I saw
Change or
him
whatever.
sing. Well,
I
I have to admit that's the first time I've seen him.
Yeah.
sing.
A lot of people our age was first, but he's amazing. But anyway, I saw Ozzy talking to Youngblood previous to the show or whatever, and he said the most point. It amazes me how Ozzy can be so fumbling and kind of the caricature of himself, and then he says and writes the things he says and writes. You're like, that's not a dumb man, right? But
Ozzy's funny too.
and
by the
funny
way.
and
he's actually funny.
But he told him this, and I was like, that's amazing. He said, don't apologize for shit. They'll understand you later. And I was like, fuck, that's deep, bro. That's
deep.
He's like, don't apologize for anything. Don't ever apologize. They'll understand you later.
I've always, when I hear something, this is how I listen to music, being somebody who likes to dabble in writing music and recording.
Yeah. I just like to dissect it and not play it like I know what I'm talking about, but I
No,
just
no,
like
no.
to hear it and listen to it and understand it.
This is how I have to listen to things. I listen to new stuff, and I go, I'm going to listen to this like I wrote it.
Yeah.
Am I proud of it? That's like in my mind, because
That's how I do it. Except I don't write. I'm not able to write music or play
Right.
music. But I just
I
have an
go,
ear.
okay, I'm listening to this new, and it may be some kind of weird genre that I don't like, and I'm just constantly searching for new music.
Yeah.
Yesterday I drove home from Atlanta, Georgia, just like looking for something to tweak my nipples.
Yeah.
And I always fall back on Sabbath
Yeah.
now. And
Tool,
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden.
Oh, I was listening to Tool, and I was like, well, let me listen to Tool and have a string quartet playing Tool music. Like, I go that route. But then when I'm, like, listening to, like, new music, and I'm like, I listen to it, and I go, oh, this fucking sucks. And then I go, no, stop saying that.
Yeah, give it a chance.
Some people put their life and soul into this. Listen to it like you wrote it. Let's say you wrote it. So I listen to it, and I'm like, then I listen to it in, like, a deeper level, like, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Or I'm like, I'm embarrassed.
Or you're like,
and then when I'm embarrassed, I'm like, this isn't good.
Or I'm like, oh, it really does. Now, and one thing I have learned.
I don't know. Is that pretentious?
No,
Or does
no,
that
no,
Just
'cause
I have to listen to music that way because
That's the same way I do it.
not a lot of people have been in a band. They go in a studio and they learn how music's made. Like the drums, the guitar, everything comes together and is recorded and put into a thing. So then after you do that for the first time ever, which I did when I was 15 in a studio and did all that, I never could listen to music the same ever again. It was kind of ruined for me.
Yeah, like I don't play. I have been around a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
life's
you're a
been my life's
huge
been
music.
my life's been music, really.
And well, you know music on a deeper level. If you say, hey, how do you like that bass line? You're like, that fucking bass line's awesome. You don't go, what's the bass guitar?
Right, yeah,
like
yeah,
most
like-
people are like, bass guitar. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I do have a fundamental knowledge, I guess, of things.
Yeah,
that
you
I've
have a
picked-
great knowledge
that
of
I've
it.
picked up through things. But what I've found in that is, so I can't. I've noticed if I listen to say Sabbath, Ozzy, and Tool, and Soundgarden, and then you try to listen to something else, you can't do it real close to each other.
Right.
It
doesn't
The
work.
bar's too high.
It's too high.
The bar is too high.
That's why I never
and
listen to my music, and they're like, "Hey, listen to Tool. Now listen to my music." It's like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, because when you do that, I've done, because I'll be like on a, I'll get on Sabbath kicks or Tool kicks or whoever, but lots of bands, Megadeth, and I'll listen to them for a week and a half, and then I'm like, oh, listen to Sabbath for a week and a half. Let me go try to listen to this new band. I'm like, that's pathetic.
This is terrible.
Yeah, so you really have to.
So,
come
yeah,
in with,
and that's where I
with
kick
fresh
in. Like
ears.
that's where I kick in with like, well, let me listen to it like I wrote it.
Yeah.
And so I listen to it like I wrote it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's pretty good. If I would have wrote it, it's pretty good. Which is a lot of bands because I'm not the greatest. So
Yeah.
like I enjoy a lot more music that way. Music to me, I'm real tired of it too.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
a
older.
love. It's a love-hate thing, though.
and
But
it's a love-hate thing,
you're tired of it in this moment.
Yeah.
Something could happen tomorrow that could make you just excited as fuck for a month. And then
Yeah,
you could be
you're right.
pissed off and tired
Yeah,
of it
I'm
again.
pissed off and tired of
something
it.
could happen a year and a half later. They get you excited about whatever it is. You hear something. You want to write something. You've got a riff idea.
Right.
You heard a song that inspired you. You saw an artist that inspired you. You saw somebody really cool doing something really cool or different.
Yeah.
And you get inspired. And you're like, yeah, that. And you want to cultivate that. And then after a little while, you're like, fuck this shit. I hate music.
Right.
And that's.
I do it all the time.
I think that's normal.
I
think
it's
that's
normal.
normal.
I have a 100% love-hate relationship with it because every now and then a band comes along where you're like, my God, this is amazing. All your like, I have like a certain thing that ticks all of my loves.
Yeah, tickles the nipples and gives me a hug. Yeah.
like gives me goosebumps, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
Certain.
the last band that really just gave me all those goosebumps and everything was Sleep Token. Because
Yeah.
I was like, God, these guys are good. They're like jamming.
I like Sleep Token. I like Sleep Token,
and
but I
then
haven't gotten.
they break off into like a solo that sounds like a 1970s solo. I'm like, who are they? And they wear masks and stuff. You don't know who they are, and you're like, who are these guys? Like, how does this guy playing like a Steely Dan type solo?
I'm seeing a lot of that emerging online from bands, and that's the bands that I'm gravitating to. It's like these bands with this new modern something. But then there's like
got some 70s
there's like a throwback in the melody or a throwback in the guitar solo
Yeah.
or the way they intro or outro a song.
Right.
And it's this retro vibe. And rock has to
But
keep,
modern.
Yeah, rock and metal, all music, it has to keep evolving. That's what makes it wonderful. You can't get stuck and say, but
Oh, well, the greatest thing about music is you pick up a guitar and I pick up a guitar and I go, well, let's play C. Let's play C, G, D.
it could sound totally different. Even
And
though
we're gonna sound
we play
different.
the same notes and they sound
Say
completely
this-
different.
completely different.
We could play the same songs. It's because
sounds different.
because there's a feeling in your fingertips and a feeling
Right.
in my fingertips that is different, and how you convey that to the
100%.
audience. And that's why you're like
Everybody has like a different timing and a different thing, and that's why I'm always like trying to tell. Like when I play with people, I'm always like, "Hey, let's play this what comes natural to us. Like don't try to
Don't try to
be like
style.
Metallica. Don't do the Megadeth. It'll be like da da da. Or just like like if we're gonna play metal, let's
Just
play
play
metal.
something.
Let's play metal like what's easy for us first. Like let's dun 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 dun, and then like
Something-
like
let something evolve.
let's not try to copy anybody. If we do what's easy, what comes to not easy, but what comes to
comes
you
naturally.
naturally to you, that's the only thing that comes to you because you're your only person.
Yeah.
you're a one of a kind.
well, that's why. Why is it that there's? I've always
Then you get 3 or 4 other people doing that together.
it's a magic.
Then you got Tool.
Yeah.
Then you got Metallica.
Yeah,
Then you got Megadeth. Megadeth. I mean, that's really, that's
Megadeth.
really
With Megadeth is Dave Mustaine doing
Dave
that
Mustaine doing
and
it.
giving you your
cues.
marching orders.
Well, there is a thing where like I said earlier, like Sean comes in a room and you start playing and you like feed off of that energy and then you capture it and you're like, I'm doing stuff I never thought about I'd do before because of the energy.
and if you just
that
jam and
we're
play,
creating,
if you jam and play a lot, stuff comes up, right? Like just stuff,
Right.
Just like if you write a lot, that's artists should be that are want to be songwriters. They should be writing their ideas all the time, doodle down little song bits because you never
best
know when
songs
something-
ever written happen in 10 minutes.
Yeah, they
I
come-
mean, they come to you, and you. The other thing about writing is like if you spend too much time on something and you think about it too much, you lose all the first thing you got in it. Like you lose that first, this is cool in it, because then you go like, oh, this is cool, and then you go, well, I'm going to play this part over it. No, that's not quite it. No, that's not quite it. No, that's not quite it.
You second guess yourself
You just
to
go
death.
forward, and instead of having you lose it. Like instead of having a great song or a great riff, you have a good riff or a good song. You try to make it great, and you lose it.
You lose it.
You lose it.
Just be appetite for destruction. Just 5 dudes that are Black Sabbath or Kill 'Em All. Just 4 or 5 dudes locked the fuck in. It ain't perfect. None of those albums are perfect, but they're perfect.
Yeah.
Those are like probably the 3 best debut albums of all time to me, right?
Oh God.
At least top 5.
Yes.
None of those albums are what somebody would listen to. If you gave it to a record executive, they'd be like, oh, this is good musicians, obviously, but there's a lot of stuff we got to tweak, a lot of stuff we got to change. Well, definitively, no, there is not. Right?
Right.
Like,
no.
There's not.
No.
Leave that fucking mistake in there. Leave that.
Yo, I love leaving mistakes and stuff. And there's a lot of them. If you look up on YouTube, like mistakes left in songs, and it makes this. It's like, oh, I didn't know. I thought that was just something fucking cool the artist did in the beginning. Like Sting laughs in the beginning of one of those songs because he plays the wrong bass note. He playing the wrong bass. He goes burp, and he's like, and then they play the thing, and I'm like. Well, that's kind of fucking cool, and nobody knew that it was wrong because nobody knew music.
It sounds right,
and it sounds cool, and then they go into it.
Cliff Burton on Kill 'Em.
Also they were recording with tape, and it costs money to go back, and you have to cut that out and go back and record over a different tape.
That's
so
exactly.
It wouldn't degrade, so they just leave it in. But all of those things were so cool, and that's what makes rock music and metal so great. Is like. The little idiosyncrasies and messes up.
You can
that
feel
they do.
the authenticity coming through. Cliff Burton on Kill 'Em All. There's a part in there where he goes that they had to leave because it's on tape and they had no budget.
And they're all recording at the same time.
Their budget was like
in all the other tape.
$8,000 to do the whole album. You have 4 days and $8,000, get it done. Cliff Burton goes, fucked up one time right there, and then it stays in the song,
and that makes it so fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's what makes it so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they just leave it in,
and that makes it legendary.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Me too.
I love everything that's left in there.
But I think your theory on what you're saying is why there's millions of artists that don't ever release anything, where everything stays collecting computer dust or shelf dust, and nobody ever hears it because they're chasing perfection, which doesn't exist in music. Like the only way to get it, you computerize yourself to perfection.
Right.
You can do that nowadays in 2025.
Yeah.
But if you're chasing like, oh, I've got this idea in my head for this riff. Well, why isn't the idea just the idea that you had? You laid it out. It's good. Lay some shit down.
Right, lay it down. Let it go.
Let it go.
Well,
Not
here's
to say you
here's
don't
the
try
thing.
to be great, but
here's the thing about it. I've recorded a couple of albums in a real studio. Mm-hmm. Okay, they never come out to what's in your head. It never does. And even Nirvana,
and you'll hear me pleasantly surprised, right?
Or Metallica, or they'll be like, "This isn't what I had in my head, but it is what it is." And it's amazing to us because we don't know what's in James Hetfield's head.
Yeah.
Because if we did, we'd be like, "Oh fuck, that's amazing!" Like, yeah, it doesn't sound like that.
Yeah.
But like everything I've ever recorded doesn't sound like what it would be in your head. And you're working with the tools you're working with.
Because you're playing parts at a time.
You're playing parts at a time, and then you go through. You want it to sound a certain way, and it's just like it's impossible to make something sound how it sounds in your mind. That's impossible.
You just said that's what I was trying to say. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
So you're always compromising as a musician of how something sounds. I challenge you to find any musician that recorded a song and was like, that's exactly the way it sounds. It's perfect. Because it's not. Because they're also a bunch of perfectionists.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you record it and you're like, oh, I wanted this to sound this way or this way, and then you'll have like an engineer or the producer be like, well, then you should probably buy all their equipment, and then have their producer and their board and everybody and their EQing style, and then you'll sound just like that. You don't have all that stuff.
You don't sound like Iommi because you're not playing the same equipment. You're not him. And
you're not him, and it's not 1970.
Yes,
you're not
going to get that sound that you think you're trying to get.
Right.
So, but I really do believe that's why so much stuff goes up. That's what I think is one of the benefits of being on a label is a label tells an artist, Mike, I'm giving you $50,000, and I'm giving you till September 1st to give me an album. And that's it. There's no they don't pretty much kind of you owe me 3 albums in 4 years, and they'll put timelines on it. Hey, well, I booked your studio time. You've got these 2 weeks. So you got to go in there and push it out. So
I think we ended up owing to our record label $70,000 for what we recorded.
Yeah.
And then the damn thing never came out because we never finished it.
Well, right. So, but if you're on a timeline, you're way more likely to put stuff. If you know, hey, the label's giving you money, they booked you studio time from August 15th to September 1st.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
done on September 1st, regardless of what you think of the product.
Right.
Right? Because that's what's paid for. That's what's budgeted, and that's why you'd be like, well, I need some more time or some more. No, that's all you get until you get mega famous.
Oh yeah, and then you got a little clout.
Well, because then you're like, I need $3 million to record the album.
There's no way anybody could need $3 million record unless you were going into a studio with nothing, not a single note, a riff, anything, and y'all are sitting around drinking Jack Daniels and doing copious amounts of cocaine and being like, well, we need to write something while it's ticking.
Somebody write
while
a riff
the time's ticking. And it's like somebody write a riff so we can get going.
Do you know what Guns N' Roses spent
Those
on?
are the worst ways to write albums, by the way.
Chinese Democracy. Do you know what was spent on Chinese Democracy? The recording budget.
It had to be a lot because it was forever.
$12 million was it? You should never.
And it was a stinker.
It was. I mean, it was. Yeah, it was.
It's the worst way to write an album. You've got to be in the streets. You got to be in your mother's attic writing songs.
Appetite
with
for
dudes.
Destruction cost $7,000 or $20,000. Chinese Democracy cost $12 million. If I would never let it, I don't think I'd let an artist get that big. If I owned a label, I'd be like, look, you are never. I don't give a fuck how big you get. You're never getting more than $100,000 to record a goddamn album. How are we ever going to make our money back? How would we ever make our money back?
I think the best way to do it is the way a lot of these bands that are already famous do it or did it in the late 90s, early 2000s. They would rent a house somewhere.
And that's the writing process.
And get the writing process in and record that.
So
just let it record.
So you have your ideas, but you're not paying for studio time.
You bring a board in. You're not paying for studio time. You just deliver it, and you work the song. You work it out, and then you go, now let's call the label and let's go do it to industry standard.
Let's go
equipment.
get our studio.
So we sound like sound professional.
Yeah, Duff McKagan.
But you can't go into a professional studio and rack up $12 million while you're trying to. Manufacture Inspirato that you don't.
Stupid.
When you walk into like,
you should have your shit ready. Your shit's ready to go.
I've been in a studio where it's just like it looks like modern cut, like just everything's modern and drab and blah blah blah. No, you can't go in there and get inspired. You've got to go to the haunted house or the house on the beach or the house in the mountains or even like a shack somewhere.
I think showing up inspired is the key. Blizzard of Oz was recorded in a barn, just so everybody understands.
Right, and that's
recorded
how amazing.
In a barn.
That's why it's amazing.
but they showed up when they showed up to the recording studio, which was a barn in England, but it was a studio. They showed up ready to go with the songs. You can't show up and be like you said.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to figure this drum part out. Fuck you.
No, let's do it. We should have got the Inspirato earlier.
But
and
Duff
the magic
McKagan,
happened out of here.
Duff McKagan talked about when they were for Appetite for Destruction. He said He said the reason we could do that, we said we can get it done in 6 or 7 days, whatever it was, because that's the way you do it. He said we spent 3 months, 8 hours a day playing these songs. He said they're fucking, and the same thing. Sabbath and Naomi said the same thing with Sabbath 1, which they did in 8 hours because they needed one take.
Right.
We need one take.
We're as great as those guys, but like before we went in the studio to do that, we did practice every day for like 3-4 hours a day.
Be tight
every day,
and you were tight, right?
And then we're like, we're ready. Oh, we got so tight.
We're ready.
We were so tight when we played shows. I don't even remember the shows. It was like, here we go, boom, bam, up, show's over, and it was like just note for note, lick for lick.
Yeah.
Over. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you anything about any of them.
Yeah.
Except the after parties.
Yeah.
Or like whatever we did. But as soon as we hit the stage and hit the first note, I was somebody else. So we just did it so much. And then when we went in the studio, when we were doing the studio, it was the same thing. It was like, this is it. This is this song. Go. Bam, bam. And we do it. Bam. Song.
And how long did it take y'all to record your album?
A couple of days.
Yeah, that's what it should take. That's what I think.
And then with the vocal, we didn't do the vocals the same time, obviously. So like then the vocals took a while.
I would just tell any of my artists, I'm going to.
But we never finished it. But
Mike and Sean, I'm going to give you your studio time. If you can't finish the album, you don't get an album, and you owe me the money.
Right. Well, that's kind of what happened.
Because this is a business situation here. Your studio time is September 12th. Or September 19th, and you need to show up, and you need to show up ready to record your songs. I think that's what happens with, I think bigger artists are doing what you're talking about, and they're showing up wanting to just dick around and drink beer and bringing chicks to the studio and shit. Like, what is all this doing? It's not really doing much of anything.
Right.
And how do you feel about a bunch of women in the studio?
Let's keep going. I'm gonna leave it on. I gotta use the bathroom,
go ahead.
and then I'm gonna keep talking about this because we got a good flow of it. Just bringing women to the studio.
Yeah. What's your opinion on that?
I'll get to that in a second. Hold on.
So I have I don't mind a few women being in the studio. They need to they can come like visit, like see what's going on. Girlfriends, groupies, whoever, they could come for a little while, show up, see what's going on, and they kind of need to scram. Like I don't need like a Yoko Ono sitting on the floor 8-10 hours a day with the Beatles being that involved. I don't think that's conducive to a good. Or I guess if it's a girl band, if it's Vixen or Lita Ford or something, I don't think a bunch of boys being in there is conducive to the album getting made and the album getting recorded the way it is. I find it to be distracting. But what do I know? So I was saying that I think it's okay, like if girlfriends or whatever, if they want to stop in for a minute and see what's going on and feel part of it, like okay, and then just beat it, like. Yeah. But we do not need. I don't need a.
That seems fine.
I don't need a girlfriend sitting on the floor critiquing.
There's needs
music.
to be no input. There needs to be no input. Okay, so this is how we did it when we were practicing in high school at Jeffrey's house in the attic upstairs. Well, not in the attic, but upstairs bedroom.
His parents didn't mind y'all playing up there?
No, they didn't.
Really?
They were
That's
really
super
good
cool.
about it.
Yeah.
No girlfriends.
Yeah.
We had a friend, our friend that was like our best friend. That was
Yeah.
a dude. That was our buddy. He would come hang out. That didn't play an instrument.
Right, just hang. Yeah.
And then we'd play something. He'd be like, "That was cool."
If somebody knows how to be in the
No girls.
If somebody knows how to be in the studio and be there and
Then in the studio, when we were recording, we didn't allow any girls either.
Yeah.
We were like, no girlfriends. We were in high school. The first time I was in a real major studio, I was actually in high school with Jonathan, Jeffrey, who was our bass player, Donnie maybe. But like,
who was that? What band was that?
Ashley 17.
Ashley 17. That's right.
So we recorded an EP called Wait Till September. So like, and they were really good songs for the time.
Yeah,
they were 90s songs.
Yeah,
they were pretty rocking. They were good. Have you ever heard?
Jonathan
any
had
of
a
those
good
songs?
Yeah, Jonathan had a good 90s style.
Jonathan.
He had a good 90s delivery.
Well, let me just tell you something about Jonathan. Jonathan is a badass musician.
Yeah, he is. He's a great dude, too.
He's
I've
a
always liked Jonathan
badass musician. Every time he ever played anything, it hit me right in the heart. And every time he played anything like a solo or whatever that was like felt, it hit me right in the heart. And I loved playing with, and I love playing with him. And me and him are doing something right now. We're about to get together and
I can't wait to hear
rewrite some stuff.
I'm going to come be fly on the wall for that.
Yeah. But when we went in the studio when we were in high school to record that EP, because we were real serious about our bands, and we were actually, I think we were good.
Y'all were?
We were a Christian band at first, and we played at a lot of churches, a lot of youth group ministry outings.
And then it evolved.
And it evolved into, let's take this to the bars where Jesus would have been hanging out.
Yeah.
And then that completely corrupted us, and we were like, I need a shot of Jägermeister and a Coors Light. And I'm 17 years old, you know. Like and they're like, okay, we're coming right up. You know? So, like, but anyway, in the studio, we were like, no girlfriends. No girlfriends. And none of them, we just didn't allow it. But when you get older and you had somebody, you're in your 20s and you're in a band and somebody have a wife, then the wife can stop by. That's not a problem. But she doesn't need to be like.
She's not in the band.
She's not in the band.
She's not.
She doesn't come out into the playroom. She comes in and she sits where everybody sits and looks through the glass.
Yeah.
And like just enjoys like. Oh, we're in this cool $1 million studio.
Do you know how?
And that's it.
How Sharon? You know how Sharon did it with Ozzy? She came never to the studio.
Never.
She was.
Oh, I saw.
She is like.
I was been watching the Osbournes.
She's a control manager, and she was like,
"We just watched the Osbournes."
Hey, she would just say, "You owe me the album October 10th," and then never be around.
Never be around. On the Osbournes, Ozzy builds a studio one season on the Osbournes.
Okay.
And he's like, "Are you going to come down to the studio?" She's like, "Fuck no."
Yeah.
I'm not coming down to that place.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, "Oh, okay." But
Yeah.
she's like, "I'm not coming down there."
And
he built this whole
she's
studio.
his manager.
And she's his manager. She's like, "Fuck no, I'm not coming
she
down
knows
there."
that, like, I have nothing to do with that.
Right.
She's like, when they gave me, because I only know that because last night I was watching the 9 Lives of Ozzy Osbourne. She was talking about, she's like, when they delivered Diary of a Madman, she's like, I knew it'd be good because of Blizzard of Oz. And then he handed it to me, and I was like, oh my God, you've done it. But I was like, oh shit, she was never around. She wasn't even in like the same city he was in.
Yeah.
Like, and you would think like the manager and wife would want to be like right in the middle of that shit, but no.
Well,
here's the product.
Here's a funny little story. When I hold on, I'm checking out my. We'll have okay. When the guys in Shreveport, I was over in Georgia driving a truck when I was 19, and I had been in all these bands since I was 15. And then when I was, they called me and they wanted me to come play guitar, write songs for them, and be the lead singer. And I was like, okay.
Who was just a band in Shreveport?
A band in Shreveport. Off of my previous band I was in, they were like, "This guy's good. I guess good enough."
Somebody's trying to bring you on. Some of your guys from one band were in another band.
No, there's just dudes from another band that knew about me, and they were
guys.
like, "We're gonna like really focus on it. Everybody's like really focused, and we're gonna write
do it.
music, and we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
we're gonna live on couches. We're gonna, do what we got to do." And I was like, "Cool." So I told my brother. I was driving, making money at the time, and I told my brother, I was like, "I gotta go do this." I said, "I'm 19 years old. I gotta go do this." He was like, "All right."
Is that when you started? Is that when you started doing the claw machines?
I did that before that.
Before then, okay.
Yeah, I was like the youngest person that ever did that.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I guess I was 20. I guess I was 20 years old. So I throw all my stuff in my pickup truck and I drive from Atlanta to Shreveport.
You're moving. You're moving.
Seems kind of backwards, right?
No, it doesn't seem backwards if you're going to join a band. It's the only way to make art.
Right. So
No plan
on my
B.
way through this 9.5 hour drive, they called me and said, "We got a lead singer. His name's Sean." And I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "You still want me to come play guitar? Whatever." He's like, "Oh yeah, we need you to play guitar, write songs. You know how to write songs." Blah blah blah.
So this is 1,000-watt bitch, or
this was 1,000-watt bitch. I roll up and we go into this house, into the attic, upstairs and
whose house?
my ex-wife Catherine was with me. She was with me. We weren't married.
Oh, so
yet.
you weren't moving.
We weren't
Atlanta.
married.
You were
Not yet. I was like kind of trying out.
Yeah. Okay.
I was kind of trying them out.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let me see if this is. Anything.
They thought they were trying me out. I was trying them out.
Yeah.
So I get there and I pick up my guitar and we're shoved in this hot ass attic in Shreveport, Louisiana. My girlfriend at the time, who's my ex-wife, who's Catherine, she came with me. I was wondering if that would throw them off a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing to bring your girlfriend.
And it's like an audition?
And it's everybody getting together, feeling each other out.
They had already asked you to join.
She comes up, she sits in the corner, doesn't say a fucking word. I remember there was a stack of like Hustler magazines in the corner. She just sits in the corner, she picks up a Hustler magazine, she's just thumbing through it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
She's just like thumbing through these nudie
Hustlers.
magazines.
Yeah.
We start playing around, and Sean's not there yet. I don't know who Sean is. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's in this band Seed. He's amazing, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, oh, okay, never heard of him, And we're playing around.
You had never heard of Seed at that point?
Never. We played a couple shows with them, but we always
Seed back then.
But we played earlier, and I always left to go do my own thing, and I didn't
okay.
stick around to hear the other bands. I was too in my own world.
Yeah.
I've always been that way. I've always been in my own world. So like,
but it's best to stay and support. As an adult now.
I don't care.
Yeah.
As an adult, yes, but back then I was like, nah, we're going out to eat. We're gonna go party. We're gonna go drink, and I'm done. I played my part of the show, and I'm out.
Yeah.
So we're playing. Sean walks in, and he grabs the microphone, and I'm making stuff up on the guitar, and everybody's following me.
Sure, it's day one.
It's day one.
Hour one, minute one.
And because I'm like, no covers. I was like, we're never playing covers. We're gonna play our own music. And I bought a 7-string guitar and detuned it to play, and like this is in like 1999, so like it's fairly new.
Yeah.
And so like I'm just riffing and playing. Sean comes in, starts singing, and it was just like lightning in a bottle. I was like, bam, we got this sound. And when I wrote 3 songs that day, and Catherine never said a word. She just sat there and like looked up and was like watching.
Bored out of her mind, probably, or she
Yeah.
liked it.
She liked it.
Yeah.
She never said it. She never said anything. She didn't like give any social cues or nothing.
Yeah.
Just like how like somebody should. That's just there.
Just to
be there.
Just there's. Just
So,
with my husband.
but when we left, she was like, "That was incredible. You
Yeah.
got to start this band."
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, "Okay, cool." So that was
So
how
why-
she acted. She didn't go, "Hey guys, you guys are just too darn loud."
Why
You
did
know, whatever.
why was Sean leaving Seed? We don't think we.
He wasn't in Seed
He used
at
to
the
sing for-
time?
I thought he,
But he
he
was.
used
They're
to sing.
back together now, apparently, on
Yeah,
the thing, which is great.
yeah.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, I want him to
Saw-
write new
I
music.
saw a little bit of it, but
Oh well, the funny thing about seeing a little bit of it is like I saw that one little video of Son of Sam, and I can't get it out of my head. Like that's how infectious they are. Like I laid like
Catchy.
all day long. I'm like I am the Son of Sam, and like that's in my head all the time since I heard it. And I'm like, that's
a good song.
That's just what makes a good song a good song.
I never knew why he left Seed.
I don't know.
They were having,
I wasn't
they-
around.
they
I
were
didn't know
having
who
a
they
pretty
were.
good- They were having a pretty good little clip too. They were starting to get like
As
some-
far as I know, like what people were saying was they were like
they were
Sony
getting, I think they were
Entertainment
getting some
kind of
tours and stuff. Like
stuff.
didn't they do like Lollapalooza? They
I
do
don't know.
Lollapalooza
I
like
have
on a
no
side
idea.
stage or something.
I have no idea, but I know they were like the biggest band around Louisiana and all around here.
Back then, yeah.
In 150.
But they had
mile,
good
200
trajectory,
mile
and then he was
radius.
going. Then y'all had better trajectory with 1,000-watt bitch, but just never knew why he.
We
left.
were getting there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I will say that it is all because of Sean. It wasn't really like I could play anything on the guitar and Sean sings over it and it's amazing.
Sounds great because he can sing great.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, like I would say it's probably 90% Sean and the band was there.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is-
writing whatever, which kind of comes back to like whatever those guys wrote for Ozzy, and Ozzy sang over top of it and did that, made it amazing.
Correct.
You know,
because it's his melody.
It
it's
could have
his
been
delivery.
anybody.
It's his.
It could have been anybody.
And it's his energy.
Yeah.
It could have been. Yeah, the lyrics would have been different, and the music might have been different. The result would have still been. It's no coincidence, right? That it's probably just a coincidence that no matter who he played with, who wrote what, when they wrote
Right.
it,
And that's what I'm saying
It
about
was always
Sean.
remarkable. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying about Sean. Like it could have been anybody. It's just who can you play with that you meld with that you get along with, and there's the
I think
there's
that's
the key.
That's big for bands is getting along. But sometimes some animosity can make you can. Sometimes bands have this friction and it just makes some fucking great. Rock
There
and
was
roll.
definitely a little
Yeah.
friction in every part of it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we never had like women problems, like trying to tell us what to do, because we all were just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You're not in the band. Go home.
Yeah, we're all young and
Yeah,
and
and
full of piss and vinegar anyway.
yeah.
So yeah.
So anyway, I had a good time in that band, and I don't know. I like playing my own stuff now, and I don't think I'd ever want to get back and do any of that over again.
Different
it's
part of
hard.
your life, but
It's just
you never know.
different.
But you could just keep the beauty of now.
You can just keep writing. You can play with whoever you want. You can record whatever you
Well, I'm
want.
just
You have all your
recording
own.
whatever I want. I got all my recording equipment. I write whatever songs
You can
I want.
put
It's
it.
just
You can put it
bunch of
out.
songs.
If you
Do
want to
whatever.
go, if you want to go play live, you can book a show and go play live.
Yeah.
If you don't,
I enjoy music and I hate music and
yeah. So don't do it when you're not inspired. Fuck it.
yeah, I just don't do it when I'm not inspired. And I don't need anybody like pressuring me to do it. And I feel like that's when you get older, that's how everybody is right now. Me, Sean, everybody. You know.
Yeah,
You just don't feel pressured into doing it.
No, because if you kind of don't have to. But in the case, but if you are somebody that wants to release stuff, you do have to actually finish projects.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Like I have done that. I mean I've done Hinkle, the punk.
You've
music that
done
I'm doing. Me and Jonathan. are gonna
You've
do this
released
thing and
more
release it.
songs in the past 3 years than you did in the previous 25.
Right.
Because you've released only like one of those. One.
I throw away. I've written a lot of songs and I've thrown away a lot of songs, and now I feel like I've been focusing more on like getting better at guitar and understanding music. And the funny thing about doing that is it like it puts like you play music the correct way and it gets boring.
Yeah.
So like there's a fine line between like learning what you should do and how you should do it, or just fucking grip it and rip it.
Just do what feels
You
good to
know.
Mike.
Yeah.
But
Because that's what I've
But
always
you should.
done.
But guitarists, artists, singers, bass players, drummers, songwriters, producers, managers. Everybody should just be trying to get better.
Right.
Like whatever that means, whatever that looks like. If you're
Yeah.
if you're an artist, that's what it's about. It's this journey.
The amazing thing is like all the people that came up with all these licks and things and stuff, the innovators of it, and then everybody just copied off of them and then just like did a little something extra.
Yeah.
And then learning how to play guitar is like building up on the fundamentals of those little tricks. And then if you're like an innovator, like say like a Tom Morello or whatever, then you take it to another step, or you treat it like it's not a guitar.
And then you get 1,000
instrument.
offshoots, and then those people do things, and then somebody else innovates, and then one thing about guitar that I know is people will play in like a certain style. Say you're playing, let's just say you're playing death metal for 15 years, and it kind of becomes limiting to a degree that you only know
100%.
And then if you were to tell that person that's been playing death metal and is an intricate guitar player, if you're like, hey, here, play some Buck Owens,
yeah,
and they would, but then if they're like, oh, I like Buck Owens, I want to dig into this, and they start trying, they have a whole new wormhole to go down. And then when they finish with that, if somebody's like, hey, do you know how to play like Django Reinhardt? They're gonna be like, fuck, I don't even know who that is, right? Like,
right,
and then they figure that, no, this guy's amazing, and they like, I don't know how to do any of this.
Right.
Then they feel like a loser all over again, even though they're like 25-year pro.
Exactly.
And
that's exactly what it is. Like right now, I'm like learning a lot of blues stuff and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, maybe the next like EP I do will be like kind of like a Devil Sell Your Soul blues kind of thing.
Yeah, do some and
it'll probably be terrible because like I'm just learning it.
And now you learn how hard
hard it is.
That's a whole new
and like all the
way
new
of playing for you.
nuance of all new things. Like the nuance of blues is so hard.
But
also I'm a little good at it. Like also like learning it, I'm like, oh. Not bad.
Blues is feel, man.
It's all about feel,
baby. It's like,
and like I want to do it. Then I want to do it in a new way. I'm like, well, I'm gonna get my 7-string guitar out and I'll do it blues with 7-string guitar. Make it a little gritty.
So that would be innovative as hell.
No, like it's not, because like 7 strings actually are like jazz and blues guitars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not, but it's like not, for now maybe it is, but. Like when, like it's not like, oh, Korn played a 7-string guitar. Now you're gonna do blues with it. That's new. No, it's not. It's actually the opposite. Korn was like,
Korn
these
got
blues
7 strings
guys
from the blues and
we're
jazz.
gonna just jazz, and we're gonna hammer it down.
Don't you feel fortunate though that now at this age you've been able to you've played some punk stuff, you've played new metal, you've played rock, you've played
alternative
you've kind of got all
rap
these,
music.
so
I've done a couple of rap things, but no one will ever hear because I'll never tell you where it is.
So now you have but you have these different styles that that you can put into, like when you write new songs, all those influences start coming out of guitar players.
Yeah.
So the little known tidbit about Randy Rhoads. Do you know Randy Rhoads? Every time they stopped in a city, he took guitar lessons.
Oh,
even though
every city is different with music.
But listen to this, they were like, so Rudy Sarzo talks about, he was like, even though no one he ever took guitar lessons from could like shine his shoes or carry his guitar case, he's like he never ran into a guy that was close. He's like, I always learned something. So he would stop at any town and just whoever the local guitar teacher was. So when they'd all go party or whatever, Randy's like, no, I've got guitar lessons this morning. In Jacksonville, Florida, and then when he's in Nashville, no, I've got guitar lessons this morning. And when he's in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, no, I've got guitar lessons. He took guitar lessons at every single stop, and he learned all these different styles.
What a genius!
And he would pick something off of He would pick something off of everything that says he stops in Bozeman, Montana. That guy is cannot believe that Randy Rhoads is calling.
But that guy plays guitar different than Randy Rhoads. And Randy Rhoads goes, oh, now I know how to play like this like mountain country kind of swagger.
So Randy Rhoads' mom owned a music school. Yeah. They taught
Jonathan's mom taught
music for a living. So he was actually a guitar teacher. But so advanced. But to go and be humble enough to be like, I'm going to take lessons from everybody in the country every time. And Rudy's like, he's just taking these lessons from this nobody. We all thought he was crazy. Like, why like you already know how to play guitar. Why are you doing this? And he's like, we find out why he did it because you get these things like Diary of a Madman. That's like this classical.
It's all perspective. On the guitar, especially when
that's just brilliant. Though,
how many musicians get the chance to travel like that? He just was a genius and took full advantage of taking a guitar lesson in every different town, everywhere,
every day,
and learning a different vibe everywhere he went, and then put it in his music.
And
That's incredible.
And even though he would be like, "Oh, even though of course I can do that," but he's like, "But I haven't done that. I've never done that.
I didn't play it like that.
Oh, that's neat. Show me that again." And
Yeah.
you know these he said a lot of times it's like kids, 25, 30-year-olds or whatever, 20-year-olds, they got to be sitting there like, what the fuck is happening? Why am I giving Randy Rhoads? Because let's say he stops in Ruston, he'd be like, well, Mike Hinkle plays guitar. He'd be like, Randy Rhoads like, oh, I'm gonna call him up then.
Yeah,
and Randy called. He's like, hey, it's Randy Rhoads. Can I come take some guitar lessons?
Let me show you like how to do the '90s Dream.
He'd be like, I don't know what to show you. He'd be like, well, just show me anything. Show me what
just
you
play
know.
a little bit.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it is.
That's amazing.
I know. That's why in
That
3
is so
years he left that
amazing.
kind of impact.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
All right, next time.
We'll end with that. Good. That's a
yeah,
good story to
next
end with.
time. Here you go. Say
Y'all
goodbye,
later.
Ray.
Take it easy.
All right.
Isn't that cool though?